Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for Week 5. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here, and welcome back to this week's news report, where once again it is time to have a look back at what has happened in the past week. So definitely a lot of things has happened, but even more has happened just in the last 12 hours. So everything is a bit of a turmoil at the moment. So due to the trade war that is just about to start off here on Tuesday between US, Canada, Mexico, and also China in here, and most probably also EU and other countries are to follow later on. Now, we saw some of these items already take place on Friday, where the Dow took a big nosedive in here. A lot of the stocks already here on Monday morning has also basically tumbled, and the same thing goes for a lot of the currency pairs, especially the ones that have US dollars involved. So there's definitely a lot of things that is happening, but we are looking back. But for sure, we will also have a look at what has happened in the last 12 hours. But we also need to go through some of the new EAs. If you remember and have followed my news reports here before, the Hedged EA, we started off with 8, now we have 16. That is now also available here again on the website itself. So you can go and have a closer look and follow that one also. That gives you another EA to actually go and try and make a profit from. Now, on top of this, we also have Expert Forex, and there is actually a test of all the EAs at the moment that was sent out last week. Should still very much be available. And obviously, I will make sure also that this particular video in here is part of the video description below, so you can go and find it. It's definitely an opportunity to try and get into the different EAs, apart from just the profit retrieval versions that we have. All the other ones are also available to you. Definitely worth having a look at. But let's start off, and we're going to start off with Yieldnodes. So we start where we have normally done here every single week at the Yieldnodes website. And again, in here, nothing has changed. There's no updates, information, anything else from Stephen Woods. We're going to go over to the Aussie coin reserves in here. And again, we're having a closer look and see what exactly has happened here for week 4 versus 5. We can see that obviously there is a bit of a movement all the way through for the PNY and also for the SAP in here. So we have more masternodes than last week, and even Saga, we can have a look at 777 here, 3515, now 3547. So again, there is movements in here. A lot of new masternodes have been set up and running, but it comes down to, again, the price of the SAP, for example, and we can see this has gone completely flat in here, and that also goes very well in line with, again, of what is actually happening on the SAP coin front in here. So it has changed, and we actually, this particular week here, just got in on the 2nd of February. You can see there's a huge gap all the way back to the 12th of December. Since then, we got nothing in here. Now at least the first one has come back, and it's at a funny amount of 154.35 SAP in here, which is about 0.5% for the week. Now also this particular video here, we also have all the monthly results. So the monthly results for January is pretty much 0. Nothing actually happened in here. So we're going to jump straight over and look at the PNY. And the PNY continues with a heavy staking in here. There is actually more than you can see on the screen itself. So we're actually quite well off for the week with 1,596 PNY, which is an increase of 4.9%. So that is obviously very nice. And also, if we have a look for the month itself, we are actually up 6,118. So basically what it says here in the wallet. And we can see the first ones has also come in from February. So obviously things are moving quite nicely on that particular part. But again, there is not really any value behind these coins here at the moment. Value is also something that we have lost when it comes to the Bitcoin. So we left it here last week just above 98,000. Since then, it actually managed to get all the way up to 106 again. But it seems to have an issue here of continuing to stay up there. So in the last couple of days, when we started to have these trade wars and more information coming out, it looks like this has also affected the Bitcoin itself. So it had a huge drop, similar to what we have seen in the rest of the markets. And obviously right now it's trading around the 94,675. So expect a lot of volatility here in the next couple of days. Trade Explorer, however, seems to have done quite well, both for week 5 with $240, 2.4%. And as always here also, we can see that the balance started off with 10,000. It's more than 50,000 now. It is one of the most used copy links in here with Expert Forex. So this is the link 146C. I'm sure you've seen it many times before. So it has developed quite nicely. Trade wins are at 75%, and we have a lot of history on this particular EA. 627 days, and trades per day is around 12. And this is the one that hasn't actually been affected so much, apart from we are actually low on profit, as you can see in here, 240 for the week. But in the past weeks, we're at 384, 542, and we have to go all the way back to Christmas, where it was only 58. So normally it does quite well. And on the monthly basis, if we have a look at that for January, you can see also the 10 pair one did 1,664 or 16.6%. And that is quite good, quite stable. But again, especially in the markets that we are in now, if you are copying these particular signals in here, dial them down, not 1-to-1, but maybe down to half, so 0.5, because definitely there will be some volatility in here. We don't want you to blow your account. If we have a closer look and see where we end up with the profit, 1,664, as we said, it's low compared to the magic December in here, where we had the huge drawdown and then the huge cash in, as this particular EA is known for. But also November 1,788, so very similar levels. And in September was actually worse. So this is a good and average level. We can see a lot of 1600s in here when we are looking backwards. So very good overall EA still. Wave Liberator, and this is the one also from our PAMM account. So we're going to have a look at that with EuroCAD at $53, 5.3%. US Japanese, $37 or 3.7%. So these ones here actually with the new setups, you can see how equal they are. We don't have the ones that are making several hundreds every single week anymore. US Swiss francs is $30, 3%. Great British Pounds Japanese, $29, 2.9%. And then Aussie CAD, $26, 2.6%, which gives an average of $175 for the week for those top 5 in here, accounted on a $1,000 account, and then that is 3.5%. And again in here, also already now the floating profit and loss, we can see we had 22 accounts, $10,000. Floating profit and loss has actually also skyrocketed in here. Again, it is only a couple of accounts that have made this particular mess in here, similar to what we discussed in the beginning of this particular video. So this was up at 29,000 at one point. It has dropped since then. So obviously extremely volatile at the moment in here. Very sensitive to everything that comes out of US and basically the trade war information. Monthly returns stay the same, and then trades per day just a bit more like the Trade Explorer. Also a good history of 531 days. We can't wait to get out of these particular trades so we can see the new settings for these few accounts that are making a lot of trouble for us here at the moment. Now you can obviously find all these copy links service in here on our website, and as I suggested here earlier, try and go in, dial them down. So for your own sake here at the moment, everything that goes on, we can see that some of them have cashed in big time, pretty much they cashed in. So in just a few hours, what normally takes a whole week. And obviously that is a huge volatility in the market in here. That is quite nice sometimes if everything is set up. Not so nice when things are going wrong. So if we have a closer look and see for the week, 372 overall for the portfolio, very similar to the past weeks, 352, 341. So again, it hasn't really sort of gone back to normal. You can also see here that there's a slight angle difference in since we came into 2025. So the profits is a bit lower, but definitely this volatility for the accounts that are making it are cashing in big time. So let's have a look at January overall here also. Good stable results. So we are very happy with the new settings that we managed to implement. Great British Pounds CAD, $139, 13.9%. Aussie CAD, $128 or 12.8%. Euro CAD, $125, 12.5%. And then Euro Swiss francs, $120, 12.0%. And then New Zealand Swiss francs, $118 or 11.8%. Overall, these top 5 accounts in here made $630 in just the month of January, or 12.6%. That is a very nice and good average overall. And if we have a look and see where that actually ends up here in the future, so that will now be 1,698. So overall for this, same as pretty much the month of December. And we can see the month before we did a lot better. Anyhow, we also have to look at the RSI Liberator for week 5. This is the top 5 EAs in here for the USD CAD with $45, 4.5%. Great British Pounds Japanese, $39, 3.9%, with Aussie Japanese at $38, 3.8%. And then Great British Pounds CAD, $23, 2.3%. And New Zealand Japanese, $23 also, 2.3%, with a total of $168 or 3.4%. So again, very strong currencies. You will see also there's quite a few Japanese in here that we have under control with our new system in here. So they are producing a bit lower profits, but overall more stable, and definitely 3.8 and 3.9% is definitely good results overall. We can also see the balance. Also, this one had floating profit of loss that also raised due to the market in the last hours here. And one of the things we can see is trade wins is a bit lower, 65%. Trades per day is 19, and now our history is a flat 300 days in here. They are going well, and we are also adding additional accounts to the coupling service. We already have quite a few on the website in here, but as I mentioned before, dial these copy link services down at the moment. We don't know exactly how the market is going to look, so in the next day, weeks and months. So do yourself that particular favor. Now also in here we obviously have 297. So overall, so this is again for the week compared to 270 the week before, and then in January we actually did a bit better. So again, these are some of the accounts. You'll see the slope is actually also slightly lower at an angle in here, and that is because we have these open trades for a long period of time that hasn't come back to cash in yet. We also have to have a look at the RSI Liberator for January. Also here, some very good results with the Great British Pounds Japanese at $185, 18.5%. We have the Aussie USD, $150 or 15%. Great British Pounds Swiss francs at $143 or 14.3%. And then Euro CAD, $143, 14.3%, with Aussie CAD, $113, 11.3%. So very good overall, $733 or 14.7%. So again, good and stable results overall, but we do have a few that are actually dragging things down at the moment. And you can also see that on the profit, 1,452 overall for this particular one in here, compared to 1,900, 2,600 as we had in the previous months. Now you can find a lot more details and information regarding the Wave Liberator and the RSI in here on our website again, and that leads us to the PAMM account here today. We're going to have a look and see exactly the disaster that we have had. And one of the things that we are looking at first, of course, is the week itself. So we had a lot of focus on making sure that we could hedge everything that they threw at us, and that also meant that basically there was nothing much had. Most of the trades has been stopped already. Only $92 in here for this particular week. This entire week has been trading pretty much sideways for most of the currency pairs, and that's also why there wasn't a major change. Unfortunately, also again this week we had more withdrawals in here, which obviously also takes a bit of stuff away from the profit itself. And if we have a closer look at the month, you'll also notice that we have dialed everything down for months ago. This was September, where we cashed in very nicely. Since then, we have turned it down 7,300, 5,200, and this was 1,600 in here. You'll also notice that a lot of withdrawals again in here of more than 7,000. So this has definitely crippled us also and limited our basically possibilities of running these particular accounts in here. Every single time you see these dips, it's not actually because all these ones here and those ones there, and again a lot of different ones. So this is not losses, but this is actually withdrawals, and then it looks like when they are doing withdrawal, they're taking the profit away from the account here also. So again, what I've been discussing and talking about before, if we have a look since September 2024, you can see the amount of withdrawal that was been done on the account. So more than 63,000. If we go, and this is where a lot of the accounts was actually set that was still open and outstanding. If we have a look at October in here, you can see that that had withdrawals of 45,000 at that particular time. So about 20,000 of that, or 18,000, was in September, and then an additional 45,000. So from the 1st of October and up until today. So the account that we have here, the PAMM account, is obviously from the Wave Liberator. We were sitting last night at 11 o'clock Central European time, where everything normally starts. All the trading is coming in. And one of the things that we saw, and we are talking about 2 seconds after the market opened, we had a nice profitable, you'll see the red line down here. The margin level is normally something you have to keep as high as possible. We had more than 400% when we started Sunday evening, and within 2 seconds it looked like this. Simply everything just closed, shut off, and basically we took heavy losses in here. And there was so much traffic on this particular, not just the Blackpool site and the platform itself, but getting the graphs updated and everything else was pretty much impossible in here. Now this is only the US CAT that we looked at. You can actually see this goes all the way back to 2007, and you'll notice that this has never been so high in here. So prior to anything, you'll also notice that we have a lot of hedging in here. So these are some of the buys that we have. So that is the ones that making sure that we have still something left on the account overall. So on Friday evening, this is where we pretty much left the account when we are talking about the US CAT currency in here. And then basically when the market opened at 11 o'clock Central European time, it jumped straight up here, and this actually moved 205 pips in here. And at the same time, not only the 205 pips, but also the huge spread that you normally have. You have a spread increase from all the brokers normally at 11 or 12 o'clock at night to clean out some of the accounts. Basically, they'll hit your stop loss, or obviously they will give you a margin call in here. But for this particular one, again, you have a lot of movements in that particular case, and that also takes away your margin. If we have another look just to see what it looks like, so this is where we entered the trades. You can see we did that back in September, and since then it set additional sales in here. It went the wrong way. That is also why we basically took away some of the EA itself, so we shut it down. And then we did multiple hedges in here. And obviously, again, what actually happened. So just you can see it has moved 1,370 pips. So within this time span overall. So a very volatile time for this particular one. And again, if you have a look and see where we have been at. So this is a new all-time high for the US CAT in here. again a lot higher, and we have actually had a look already last week again with some professional traders, their advice, everything else. Everybody was expecting retracements in this particular one in here because it had already been there before and didn't reach over. But I guess these trade wars here has basically put the rule book to shame. So let's go on with the lucky trader. So some positive news in here instead. For the US CAD, we have $63, 6.3%. We have New Zealand Swiss francs with $62 or 6.2%. And then we have Great British Pounds CAD, $42, 4.2%, with Euro CAD at 35 and 3.5%, and CAD Swiss francs, $31, 3.1% overall. For the lucky trader for the week, $232 or 4.6%. So obviously also this is one of the better EAs in here, and this also have an increased floating profit of loss again for all these volatile currencies, but they are still very much under control because they are under the new settings here and the new way we've developed it. Monthly returns is still 1.2 or 12% on $1,000 accounts with a trade win of 70%. We have trades per day is a lot, actually 24, and a history now of about 3 months, 92 days in here. So it is becoming stable. And this is also, the view has already gone to the coupling service. You'll find more on our website. And also this one here, do yourself a favor, dial it down to half of what you normally have. So it's better to make a little profit than blowing any of these accounts here at the moment. We don't know where everything is going. All we can see is where we've been, and we made $309 this particular week, which is a lot better than the past couple of weeks with 266 and 264. So it's nice to see that that one is coming up again. And if we also have a closer look to see how January went, Great British Pounds CAD is actually topping off with $187 or 18.7%. So really, really high, very nice. Great British Pounds USD, $178 or 17.8%. Euro Swiss francs, $67, 16.7%, and then US CAD, $155 or 15.5%. Euro Great British Pounds, $124, 12.4%. And then total down here for those top 5, $810 or 16.2%. Extremely high and well done. So for the month of January. And if we have a closer look, we now have the 3 months, as I mentioned in here. We can see that the profits has actually dropped a bit, so 27. So, and then down to 1800, 1400. So December was obviously bad. And January should have been a bit better, but again, apparently it is not. But still, some of the numbers you saw there, they are quite good, I believe. The Bell Trader also for week 5, we have the top 5 EAs in here. This is the one that doesn't make as much money, but it's certainly starting to get there. Great British Pounds CAD, $82, 8.2% for the week. So that's definitely approved, with Euro USD at $78, 7.8%. And then CAD Swiss francs, $40, 4.0%. And then Euro CAD, $29, 2.9%, with Euro CAD, $22 or 2.2%. Overall, the top 5 in here, $251 or 5.0%. And we obviously have to also look at the portfolio itself. Also, this one, floating profit and loss, is actually very much under control, very low at the moment. And in here, monthly returns is 0.6. So that has gone up a bit now, or 6% per month. So it's good to see that it's starting to work. Look at the trade wins, very high, 76%. Trades per day, not so many, and that's why the profit, I guess, is low with 6.9. And then now a history of 62 days. So we are getting some information in here also. You can find a lot more details and information. None of them are on the coupling service right now. We have suspended any new signals in here while all this mayhem is going on. We're going to wait and see what's actually happening, but you can still go on the website to have a closer look. Now the portfolio obviously looks nice in here. And if we have a look at the individual weeks, we had some very low weeks around December, also in the beginning of January. And then last week it picked up with 413. This week it was 308. So it is definitely moving in the right direction. And the best way to normally see this is having a look at the entire month instead, where Great British Pounds CAD came in at $232 or 23.2%, so very high in here. The Euro CAD at $174 or 17.4%. And then the Euro USD, $138 or 13.8%, with the US CAD at 115 or 11.5%. Followed by the lower of the top 5, Aussie USD, $98, 9.8%. So total $758 or 15.2% for the top 5 in here. Very nicely done. And the results are also very stable. As you can see, for December, we had 900 on the Bell Trader, and now we have 983. So it is a small increase. Hopefully we'll get even more in the future. So I also mentioned we have the new portfolio. So this is again the Hedged EA, and we have actually also gotten this up and running now on our website. So you can now go directly to our portfolio, click on the Hedged EA in here, and then you can find the same details as you can with the Lucky Trader, Bell Trader, and all the other ones that we have covered in this particular video here. So we also need to have a look at the top 5 EAs for week 5. When it comes in here, it's the US CAD with $78, 7.8%. The Euro CAD with $63, 6.3%. And then US Swiss francs, $42, 4.2%. With Euro USD at $34, 3.4%. And then Euro Swiss francs, $30, 3%. Overall, the top 5 EAs. So for the hedge one for week 5, $247, 4.9%. So very good start for that particular one. And you can also see the portfolio here. Again, we have 16 $10,000 accounts. We have a closed profit of 636 with a floating profit of loss of minus 441. So that is obviously also changing a bit as the market is quite volatile at the moment. We have monthly returns of 1.1 or 11%. So, and again 0.3 or 3%, and then a high trade win of 71% with a history of only 14 days, where the first week we had only 8, and you can also see that basically comes up to here. The second week, all of a sudden things are going faster because there's obviously now 16 EAs, 16 currencies that we're taking care of. But we also need to have a closer look at what actually happened for January. So again, EuroCAD $144, 14.4%. So very, very high. US CAD $78, 7.8%. And then Euro Swiss francs $72, 7.2%, with Aussie Swiss francs at $42, 4.2%. And also here, US Swiss francs $42, 4.2%, with a total of $378 for the week, or 7.6% for those top 5 results in here. So that's actually how it looks at the end of the day. So what we had in the first week, net profit 201, and then from there on, second week here, 435 gone up, and then the month 636 in here. But again, this was only for 2 weeks, not the entire month. So looks like it could do more than 1,000 in here. Now we also have to have a closer look at Alex and Expert Forex, and this is one of the trading robots he's talking about. This is actually the Lucky Trader. So you can go and have a look at that video. That video will also be having a link in the video description below. You can go and have a look. He is using completely different settings than we are. He looks to be doing extremely well. I'm just very worried that maybe some of these settings here would have blown based on what we have seen here in the past 12 hours. Now again, I mentioned earlier, there is a trial and test. So for 18 Expert Forex robots in here. So again, I will have the description for that particular video down there. We have already seen some emails because we are part of the forum in here that has come out where you can go and test them, not just what we have actually gone over here today with the Liberty versions, but also other ones. So if you are more into the take profit and stop loss there, then there's definitely EAs for you here. We also have to go through the copy link service in here overall. And again, we have just taken the Excel that Alex has made available to us. We try to basically just sort it out. So we have floating profit and loss of maximum 400 in here. You can see all of them are very, very low. And then we also take total negative weeks in the last 8 weeks. It mustn't been over 400 either. And again, they are very much within that time span. And then return on total drawdown should also be a minimum 200, which all of them have very well. Some of them are even very high, 1100, 1700 in here, 900 and 900. So again, I know there's been a lot of info and details from a lot of forum members saying that some of these numbers are not adding up with the FX Blue. So we already know that FX Blue is not the best ones when it comes to drawdowns. There's no doubt about that. But also don't forget that the gains that are here is not on the balance, it's actually on the equity instead. So that makes the difference in here, and that's what also seems to have confused a lot of people. There is on this particular page where we find these things also now some clear details of how this is actually being done. So hopefully that particular chat will die down. So this is what we had for you in this week's news report. As you can see, this is quite devastating what has happened just in the last 12 hours in here. Everything was pretty much under control, especially on the PAMM account, if you can call it that. Obviously, we struggled with a lot of withdrawals from investors since September and October. That obviously had a big impact. But because, again, we stopped some of the trading in here very early on, we tried also to hedge some of the currency pairs that was running away. That is also why we didn't have any crashes like we saw some of the other ones getting into trouble. So for the PAMM accounts in December and January, we managed to get into February here, but clearly there was something up Friday evening. We went in also to hedge it again on Friday on some of the currency pairs that we expected movement on, but clearly nothing like this was expected at all. And as you can also see, just one of the currency pairs is at a new all-time high. There's another one in there which is at the all-time low here also. The longest trends that we've seen before. It just seems to get worse and worse. We thought 2024 in here when we had the Japanese yen move so over a very short period of time and also crashing the ceiling in here. That was the top part. Then later on in the summertime we got the Swiss francs, and then we basically ended up with the US dollar in here. Now also a trade war. So definitely this has not been the beginning of 2025 that we would have expected and hoped for. So there is still a certain percentage in there for the account itself, roughly around 30,000. And obviously you can take your money out, as many have already done. But on the other hand, I would like also to try, see if we can reclaim some of it again with the new settings that I know is working a lot better in here. Play it even more safe and obviously continue to expand the knowledge every single week, depending on what is actually happening in the market. So there is some setups and everything else that I've been working on behind the scenes. And obviously it is very difficult, as I mentioned here many times before, to implement these ones here while the trading has already been ongoing since September, October. So it doesn't really change the end results in here, as you can see. And we'll also notice that Expert Forex, that particular PAMM account page, has also closed down basically. So this has been unfortunately a huge disaster and the wrong time to maybe launch some of these items in here. Definitely we know there's a lot of people that has suffered, not just from these PAMM accounts, but what you see actually also on the stock markets and everything else. Definitely there's a lot of people that's going to be hurt. Hopefully there's also a few that's going to manage to bring some capital in again here for future investments. And that is obviously the name of the game. Don't put everything in one basket. Now obviously most of this has been lost, but it's also recoverable, and we will definitely make sure to try our best to do this in the future. But I can also tell you we have spent tons of time and effort every single day, every single evening, every single very early morning to make sure that this account here was gonna stay safe. But obviously when a market moves like this, it's simply impossible. it comes within a couple of seconds after the trading is opening, means basically we have no opportunity to basically go and help the account out or hedge it in any way, shape and form. So obviously I would like to hear back from you if you're interested in this. We will take the entire week to just do a review again here of how we want to do it. If people are still on board, trying to basically grow the account again, slowly but surely, and then hopefully you take it on from there. So until next week, I'll give you a bit of an update on what exactly is the plans and what we're going to do in the future here. So until then, see you around. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way, you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.